I am Tebogo Makhubela, a geologist and lecturer at the University of Johannesburg in the Department of Geology.
Tebogo, what are you doing?
So I'm surveying the surface above the cave. I'm trying to get a connection of the different sinkholes that we see when we are inside, to try and make sense of how they're related to the mining, how the miners, may have accessed the cave, because you can't assume that they were using one access alone, and that access maybe was man-made by them, So I'm just exploring what the real situation is on surface, so that we can link that properly with what is beneath in the cave. And because I had not done this before, last week I just went straight into the cave and looked at what the situation is down there. And when I was thinking about it over the weekend, all the different sort of access to the surface that I could see from the caves, I had to then make sense of that. So this is part of, the pathway that we use to access the cave. And this wall, it is very interesting and important for us because it is well preserved and easily accessible for us. So it's going to be important for us to really understand it as well, so that we can link what we are seeing on this wall together with what we see inside the cave in there. So I find it interesting because that is the dolomite bedrock, which is the country rock, and it extends to the top there. Above my head, that is the dolomite, and that is flow stone, and we have a nice, it's easier to see here, it's a beautiful flow stone that is lining the dolomite bedrock. And then we transition from the flow stone speleothem into the breccia deposit that we have here. And this breccia deposit, so there is that flow stone there, but through here it was probably a fracture into the breccia deposit, because that is breccia there, and I imagine here we would have had breccia as well. This breccia deposit is important because it gives us information such as the direction of flow, as indicated by this long fossil bone. As you can see, it's imbricated in the direction towards east-southeast. And you look at the clasts in the breccia themselves as well, you can see they are also dipping towards the east. There's the imbrication. That is a nice one to see, this long clast. You can see it's dipping in that direction. So that is a clear indication that the flow of this breccia deposit was towards the east. And I get the impression that it was this talus cone that was infilling a fracture, and it fits in with this east-west fracture system that we have in the area. So I like this wall very much. It really helps put things into perspective. And we are going to then compare what we see in this breccia deposit together with what is inside the cave in the breccia deposits in there and see what is the link and connection between them. Is it one deposit or not? But dating these flow stones will certainly be very helpful for us to understand the relationship between these breccia deposits. But at this stage, it looks like one chaotic unit that was deposited very rapidly into this fracture system that was in existence. So it's going to be very interesting when we learn more about it and link what we see on top on this level together with what we see at the lower level inside the cave. Is there a name for this area where we are standing? Because I think we can call it the 105 amphitheater.
Yes, 105 amphitheater.
It has that feel, you know. I can just see a nice, lovely meeting happening here.
Guys, welcome to the 105 amphitheater. We have decided. And say hi to my other cameraman, Rex. Hello.
So, standing in the 105 amphitheater here, and I noticed that these blocks that we have on the surface here, they are exclusively dolomite blocks. It is rare to find blocks of the breccia, such as this one that we have here, you know, but majority of all these, they're dolomite. And it seems to me that as opposed to a natural rock fall, this may have been as a result of the blasting by the miners, you know, as they were getting their access into the main chamber that we'll be working in. And they could have been in here speleothem deposits that they mined out very quickly, may not have been as big as they were in there. So they may have mined those very quickly and figured out that the best way is to blast through this area and, interestingly, not clean up as they have done in that chamber and packed nicely these blocks that we have over here. So that blasting may have been after the fact, when they realized they don't need this area anymore, but they needed the easy access it provides them into this chamber that we have this side. And what is interesting about this chamber is that they opened the entryway right through the dolomite, the breccia deposits, which are packed nicely over here. But we can see when we are in here that, well, there must have been a massive speleothem that they were chasing in here, as indicated by the remnants speleothems that are on the wall over here towards that section of the chamber. Dusty. Wow, so this looks like the classic decline shafts, you know.
Okay.
And these decline shafts were the ones that were initially used for the gold mining. And remember, I mean, the lime mined here was for the purpose of the gold mining.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this was the primary access route into the 105 amphitheater and into the deeper part of the chamber. So instead of this being a natural, I think this was a man-made decline shaft by the miners at the time. You know, it has all those characteristics. I mean, look at how they would have then cut on the rock. Yeah, exactly. My point is they cut through the strike of the rock, you know, and natural processes don't really do that.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, this you can see this was actually the original wall.
Yeah, exactly,
coming down, and then the
you know. But you can see classic decline shaft for that
Okay.
purpose.
Alright.
Yeah, you see, when you're busy chasing the geologist and you don't watch where you're going, you end up walking into a wall. So, Tebogo, while I was chasing you, I didn't realize that I was walking into this wall here.
All right.
Is this man-made or natural? Do you
No,
think?
this is a man-made little wall. You can see that they were stacking these blocks here. You can see how beautifully stacked they are. It was an effective way of not having to transport this material out to the surface. Just pack it out nicely here and form a nice surface to work on. So this is the local bedrock. The dolomite, except here, the dolomite is sand rich, and that is the speleothem, the calcite and the aragonite that the miners were targeting.
Okay,
during
so that's
the
what we
mining.
call a speleothem.
Yes, that is the calcite and aragonite. It occurs as flow stones when it flows on the walls as well as the floor of the cave, and then it occurs as stalactites when it's hanging from the roof of the cave, and then stalagmite when it is rising from the bottom of the floor. And then there are different forms in terms of the names depending on how they are in the cave.
Okay,
But
so,
you can see we have those that are fracture filling.
Yeah.
So they fill these fractures that have formed on the
So this is the stuff
Host
that we're
rock.
going to be trying to date.
Indeed, yes, that is the stuff that we're going to target for dating with uranium lead dating as well as uranium thorium helium dating. Yeah, this is a very interesting wall because early indications suggest that it was a very chaotic collapse, you know, with everything slumping in here, as opposed to a flow. We have these large boulders, you know, this one of the host rock, and where my light is over here.
Yeah.
We have yet another large block of these sheared rocks from the shear zones at the top there. You can see by that foliation in this chart unit.